It's not. Everybody's not going to be able to do it.
Something I wanted to talk about in my segment.
What?
2 cents. American blacks versus international blacks. Why is it that in the black community, like in American black community, we have this stigma where our kids, by the time they turn 18 or 16 sometimes, they have to contribute the bills, or they have to be out the house, or,
Well, I'm going to tell you, I had, there's an article in The Globalist, and it was written by Jacob I don't even know how to say his last name. Conte, Conte, Conte. Okay. He is from Sierra Leone. Is that your African accent that you was using yesterday? So, the deep division that exists between African Americans and Africans, you have to examine the background of the two groups. So he really went in deep. He has done extensive research on the subject. So if you want to read about it, go ahead. But he brought up some interesting things. So when African people come to the United States, Africans can easily identify with white Americans because they understand each other. Before migrating to the United States, the majority of Africans have had little to no negative experience with white people. So they don't hate them, because most African people, when they were in Africa, the people that they saw that came to Africa were like, social workers, or people that came to teach English, or like, they came to teach them about, their culture. So, but African Americans obviously have had a negative experience with white people. So they feel like most African immigrants to the United States came here for economic advancement. Remember we talked about that? They do not have any political agenda. Only thing they came here to do was make money. So however they got to make the money, they're going to make the money. Most African immigrants that came to the United States live in mixed neighborhoods instead of black neighborhoods. For African Americans, it's often the tendency to blame slavery for most of the problems that they face. So when African American students fail in school, some educators blame slavery and do not look for other factors. However, the time has come for African Americans to realize that while racism still persists, the best thing they can do for their children is to teach them to take full responsibility for their actions. Fathers need to take care of their children, and young women need to stay in school instead of having children. So this is his perspective coming from an African guy, and this is
he's an African.
And this is
he hasn't lived this. This is the
thing that we're talking about. This is the debate that we're gonna have.
If you haven't experienced it, you wouldn't understand. Like, you gotta understand, like, you coming from Africa, you seeing social workers and things of that nature. Okay, cool. Like, you're basically getting a wolf in sheep clothing. You know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta understand, like, the crack epidemic. You gotta understand our fathers and our brothers and going to prison, like things of that nature. So it's easy for somebody from a whole nother country, saying that, okay, I don't have an issue with the white man, but when you seeing the white man doing something to your people, that's a whole nother realm. But it's not even about the white man at this point. It's about us against us. Why is it that Black American households, we have this thing where we putting our kids out at 18, or our kids have to be the man of the house at 18, whereas with an international black household with Haitians,
this is what he's saying,
with black Hispanics and things of that nature, like, why is it that they can stay into their parents' house, or they people house until they 30, 35 years old, married with kids, and then they get a house, and then they bring cousins and aunts and uncles from their country, and they just start the process all over again. Why is it we not doing that?
I think that's more like some generational thinking.
Right.
It's happening and it's like somebody's just gotta break the curse.
Right.
So when Amari get of age, you make it to where he can stay with you however long he needs to.
Right.
And that's just breaking that curse. It's really just about breaking the curse, I think.
But why haven't we broken that curse at this point?
Because nobody's taking the initiative to do it. Like, generation after generation, and think about it. How many generations of single parents do you know? Like, how many families do you know that just have generation after generation of the same story? Either you know what I mean? Like, you're just raising these kids by yourself. You're just barely gonna make it until the kid graduates and goes to school, and then you pushing the kid to play football because you want him to make money so somebody can finally.
I don't even want my child to play football until he's like 10 or 11.
Or you're pushing them to get their degree, or you're just pushing them out the house to try to bring more money into the house because you're struggling. Like, how many people do we know? Like, at what point? And this is what this guy is saying. He's saying that Africans come here and they have no like bad ill will. They have no like, you know, they're just here to make money. They don't care about what happened. They don't care about slavery.
It's irrelevant. It's irrelevant to, you know, the point I'm trying to get across, because my thing is like, if you haven't experienced it, then you have no.
But that's why whenever there are these like, you know, whenever we go marching or whenever we protest, I always say like African Americans specifically have our own issues that we need to deal with.
Absolutely.
When you go get involved in all this other stuff, I say this all the time. I'm like, African Americans have a story and experience that we share. Just us. There should not be anybody else that you look to except maybe like the Jews. You know what I mean? That's a whole nother story for a whole nother episode. But there's a soccer game, so that's the parade for the soccer game. But we should stick together more. That's even more of a reason why we should love and respect each other more, because we have that experience. Right. We have had. But see, what happened was, I think that many generations before us did not continue with that story. Didn't keep telling the story about the struggle. It was like, you know, for a lot of families, once your family left the South or whatever, that was the end. They didn't even tell. Like, I know for me, my family, I didn't know a lot of the ills or my family went through, specifically living in the Jim Crow era South, and because a lot of the Great Migration, a lot of families left the South and spoke nothing else of it until it was time for the family, you know, the cookout, and you came back. You didn't tell your kids the struggle and what went on and why everybody left. So when the other people come here, they come here because they're escaping some even worse shit that's still going on in their country, like, you know, war and bombing and killing and like just craziness that's going on. They come here and they're like, look, I'm just here to make money. I don't care about what happened 100 years ago. So that's why you can't look to anybody else to try to relate to our struggle, but us.
My thing is, how can that's like you moving to a city or moving into a house that's done been around for 50, 60 years and you not ask for the history. How can you pay for
because they just want to make money. I'm just here to make money. I heard there's some money here. Can I get some?
You gotta know your surroundings too. You have to be aware of your surroundings. You can't, you know, my thing is like a lot of people, you know, internationally, I have never been out of the country, so I can't really tell it, so to speak. But my thing is, I don't know what kind of thing they tell these people, they put in these people's head on their television and media.
It's what you
not
came.
Us,
yes,
not
you.
Us, because
you get on social media and you're throwing money and you got all this plastic surgery and you got Gucci this, Fendi that. And so I'm in Africa and I'm looking and I'm like, oh,
But how many people on social media, like in all seriousness, how many people like that you know personally on social media that do shit like that? And in reality, in your head, it's not you being jealous of anything. You just saying, you know, that person not living like that. It's a facade. We all know people that go in there and do that.
I know. That's true.
That's just a way of life.
I know that's true, but this is why I tell y'all, when it's time for like taxes and when they doing all these numbers about the economy and the numbers and the growth, and that's gonna determine what they do with paychecks and taxes and money. They just saw 100 people online at Foot Locker on TV waiting to throw $300 for a pair of sneakers. Clearly, y'all got money.
And that shit ridiculous, because when I went to the store to go get my son some shoes, I really don't spend no more than like maybe $30-$40 on his shoes, because
they're gonna grow out of it.
Jordan make decent shoes, you know, for $30. My thing is like I'm seeing people throw $60-$70 on like infant shoes, and I'm looking like, dog, like you got like 3-4 kids and you really finna spend all this money.
I saw this meme
just to take pictures in these shoes, like.
Right, I saw this meme, right? And the meme was like, oh, if you dress fresh, your kids should be dressed fresh too. Did you ever see that? Yeah. And I understand what you're saying. Like, your kids should have good, clean clothes. You shouldn't have fresh clothes and your kid got holes in these shoes, stuff like that. But at the same time, you work at a job where you have to present yourself in a certain way, and your kid is about to go run and play in dirt and make dirt pies. So yeah, your kid, it's all right. Don't let those memes out here make you feel bad, because Junior, And little boo boo is gonna grow out of that stuff. Don't feel bad because you didn't buy $100 sneakers for your 2-year-old or Timberlands because they're gonna grow out of them, and you bought yourself some because number one, little Junior don't have a job. Number two, when you go to work, you have to look a certain way, or you have to, uphold a certain image or look nice. So I don't like that meme.
In all honesty, most of Amari clothes come from Walmart, and the way I dress Amari, you would never know a lot of his shit come from Walmart.
As long as your kid is presentable and clean and has good clothes.
That's what
Kids
I'm saying.
don't care.
That's what
Lion King light up.
That's what I'm saying, bro.
That's what I saw.
Like,
I saw that on the internet too, where it's like you got your kid on with these Gucci shoes, and all he wanted was some light up wheel shoes from.
And they $200.
But that's what I'm
Ain't no way in
saying.
hell
That's
for
what I'm
an
saying. When you go to school and you see these immigrant children, and everybody's clowning on them or whatever. Guess what? Here goes some more stats about immigrants. Black immigrants have the highest rate of education and employment. How about that? Black immigrants make up a small share, but a substantial amount of the DACA recipients. How about that? There are 3.7 million black immigrants in the United States, and mostly they come from Nigeria, Haiti, Ethiopia, Jamaica, Trinidad, and Tobago.
I think another reason too that could be why the people get kicked out at 16 and 18 or whatever. I feel like black people, we don't manage money with it.
We don't, because we haven't been taught credit.
Another reason that parents is pushing their kids out is because the money is tight.
That's right.
And it's like, shoot, if we,
But at what point?
if we take these income tax checks where you getting this $4,000 a kid, you should sit that to the side. Like, you gonna continue to get paid, so why are you spending that whole income? Like, that should be able to last you throughout the whole.
There have to be, and that's what comes, and this is what the immigrants learn when they get here, because they're here to make money, so they learn all the stops, how to make the money, financial literacy, and that's what we try to teach, that's what we try to promote. And all you're getting, get some knowledge. You got $1,000 phone. You claim that you could find anything in this phone, you could drive that damn phone.
That's some real
but if
shit.
you need to find, you could look up anything. Everything is on your phone. I can't stand when people ask me questions and they have like this phone, and all you do is promote this phone. Oh, I got an iPhone. Well, look in the iPhone and find out. You could look up mad shit. You could learn mad shit. You could read mad shit. If you spent half the time on reading something about financial literacy, and stop saying nobody taught me. Ignorance is no excuse nowadays. Do you know what I had to do to go find out something in the library?
Sometimes you don't know what to look for.
You don't know what you don't know.
Yeah, you don't know what you don't know. So, like, some people don't know about money. Some people really don't know about money. They just know how to spend money. They don't know the importance of money.
Right.
They don't even know the asset. If you think buying a house is an asset, and
It's a liability, absolutely.
You feel me? First off, it's leaving you stuck in one place for a while, and then you making these payments for 30 years. Like,
Right. You really don't own it.
People think buying a car is an asset. It's not a, well, it could be an asset.
It really doesn't appreciate, right? I mean, it's an investment.
What assets and liabilities are.
Well, we have to find out what people don't know specifically in the group. We're gonna start on what we already have on Facebook. I mean, but also everything is relative to your situation. So we can find out a whole bunch of information, and it might apply to you and it might not. But you start the conversation with your kids. Start the conversation with your significant other. And we always talk about relationships and business. Like, if you're marrying somebody that has bad credit, guess what? Your credit is gonna be jacked up because more than likely they make bad financial decisions. And so,
You know one thing I do? Like, if I got a $20 bill, right? And let's just say I go to the grocery store and let's just say I got like 75 cents or something. I always take my change and I got like this little pocket at home. I just throw my change like in there. Like, it's something as small as that. Like, I see people throwing pennies on the ground. I pick that shit right up. Like, that shit adds up.
yeah, it does.
It's an app. I don't know if you ever heard of it. It's an app called Acorns.
I heard of Acorns.
Like, when you swipe your card, say if you spend like $1.95, they take that 5 cents and put it in the stock.
You was telling me about that.
Yeah.
You was telling me about that. Yep.
Every week I pay $5. And shit, I started off, I think, within the last, I don't do the little change anymore because for some reason they connected to my account. But shoot, I got like $300 just sitting in there.
What?
I don't even touch, I don't even look at it. It's just like,
Yeah.
Do you know what do you know what you invested in?
I'm in, it's a bunch of companies. I got like 5 or 6 companies. It's the S&P 500. So I'm invested in 12 companies.
Oh, that's great. great. And the stock market is still doing well. Thank you, Donald Trump, allegedly.
That's all it is, man. That's all it is. Like it's not hard. It's honestly not hard to save. It's just you got to put it in your mind. When you get,
it's all about
money
discipline.
out
But
of
that's
sight,
what
out of mind.
that's
all it
something
is.
that the other people come here with.
And knowing you don't have to, like what the old people used to say, money burn a hole in your pocket.
Yeah,
You ain't gotta spend it. Just because you got it don't mean you gotta spend it. Like shoot,
that's where the discipline kicks in at.
And do you ever spend money sometimes and you be like, damn, I really didn't have to buy this shit. I really didn't have to buy this shit.
Yeah, but yeah, that comes with having discipline in every area. So save money, people. We talk about that all the time. Don't trick your money off on some foolishness.
Going to fucking Red Lobster with your tax money every day.
Red Lobster.
You know, in the black community, Red Lobster